Hello everyone and welcome to a Racing Social King George special. I've got the likely lads and lasses joining me in Dawn and Matty, and as it's the King George, we've drafted in the big guns. We've got Lorcan Williams and Kevin Brogan. Lads, thanks for coming. Are you all good?
Yeah, thanks very much for having us.
Yeah, Lorcan, what are you?
Thank you. Yeah, all good, thank you. Thank you for having the pair of us. Looking forward to it.
Good. Dawn, looking forward to the King George?
Oh, buzzing, Joe. I mean, we were starved, weren't we, of racing, and now we're being filled to the brim with Leopardstown, Limerick, Tremor. I have to get all them in as well. But the King George, Jesus, it's a feast. There's a couple of moaners going on that it's not that great. How couldn't you be excited? How couldn't you?
Exactly. Matty, King George Day is always busy for yourself down at Ben's Yard, but you excited for the big race yourself?
Yeah, can't wait. One of the best races of the year, so it'll be a good watch anyway.
What do you say? It is the crown of the Christmas period for me. Quickly, before we get stuck into this year's race, we've all got a favourite King George memory, and it'd be rude not to pick one out from the past. Kev, is there any old King George that stick out for you?
Yeah, probably Cottle Star's last King George now would probably stick out the most for me. To be fair, he was a racing star for between England and Ireland, so to see him come back and win, I don't know how, to be honest, I'm not forgetting how many he's after winning now at this stage, but he was a racing legend and that probably sticks out the most for me.
Yeah, I agree. That's one for me as well. Matty, what about yourself?
Probably Thistlecrack.
Okay.
I thought he was insane that day. I remember watching in the back of a horse box on the way back from Market Raising. And I was just gobsmacked by it, really. I thought he was brilliant that day.
Look, and your boss, he's won the race 12 times, I think, hasn't he, your boss? Is one of them your favourite?
Yeah, probably when Cobden won it on Clanders Obo, obviously being here and at Pools at the time, it was a big achievement for young Harry, and it was just a big team effort again, and obviously we were a part of it when Sammy rode Clan, but Harry is the number one jockey, so for it all to come together like that was very pleasing for the whole yard,
Definitely. Dawn, what sticks out for you? I mean, for once, I can sit here and say that the Irish haven't had much luck in this race. It's about the only race that you don't win very often. So
only last year, last year was pretty decent if you had him at 28-1, and you had a bit of Fahim form in there and everything else. And no, I won't go into my fandomship about the jockey, but no, for me, as much as I adore Cato Star and 5 times to do that, it's long run. What he did, and to be second the year before and then to go on and win after that win in the Gold Cup, he's just, and Sam Whaley-Cohen as well, love him or hate him, and he does get a lot of stick, or did get a lot of stick and whatever else. He was brilliant on that horse, and it's great to see the Noble Yates colours back. His colours, Long Run's colours, are Noble Yates now as well, who is equally as exciting, I think. But no, for that horse, a Gold Cup winner, and we kind of forget about him. But I was out Christmas shopping 2 weeks ago, and they were playing his race, and the way he fought back at Captain Chris that year, that's the type of King George you want. And I adore Cato Star, love a bit of Froden. But long run for me, he sticks in my mind. I was lucky enough to see him at Punchestown when he was third to Boston Bob. So he's a bit of a heart horse for me.
Okay. Before the King George, we have got another grade one, the Christmas Hurdle. Obviously, this year, Constitution Hill is going to show up, and I don't think anyone's sat here thinking that it's actually going to get beat. Just one word so far to sum up Constitution Hill from everyone, if that's all right. Matty?
Machine.
Kev?
Jet.
Lorcan?
Extraordinary.
Yeah. Dawn?
It's coming. Horse Gosnick.
Obviously, it's great that Campton, he's showing up and giving the Christmas Hurdle some glamour. So the King George itself, 3 miles, about 18 fences. Desert Orkin made his race his own. Quarto Star has a record 5 wins in the race, the last being quite memorable for me. Kev said earlier. Paul Nichols, your boss, Lorcan, incredible 12 times he's won this race, and he's got 3 brilliant contenders again this year. Last year, the trophy, as Dawn mentioned, went to Ireland. They've only got 1 runner this year, and then by Alan. We'll get to him later on today. Starting off at the bottom of the betting, we've got Miller's Bank. Matty, can we see Miller's Bank getting involved in it next week?
No.
No.
Great. He's a very good horse in his own right, but he was beating the Peterborough. No, he's not good enough to compete in the King George.
Miller's Bank, Lorcan, he's up against it massively, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, he's a good horse in his own right, but I mean, he's competing against some of the best in the King George, so he could just be out of his depth.
He's probably better suited to elsewhere, isn't he, Dawn? But brave shout from Connections to get here.
I think it's a brave shout, Joe, but you know me with my bonkers bets, and I kind of go, I seen him, he was 5th to Capadano at Punchestown, okay? And I would make a case from where you've got the Pictory form as well. Warlord, he's beaten Warlord, who, you know, has seen the back end of Edwardstone twice. So you do have a little bit of form there. And I just go with last year, we had a bit of a surprise at 28 to 1. This guy's 50 to 1. Had a bit of a chat with one of my mates earlier, and he's taken him as well at 50 to 1. Bonkers bet. He mightn't win, but you know, you're getting a little bit of money back. He's value. I respect what the other guys are saying, but I do the bit of Warlord form and Pictory form in there, I'm not going to ignore.
And Kev, does Miller's Bank, does he truly stay 3 miles?
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth there. I have to agree with Don. He does have a very good bit of form there behind him, but he doesn't have the background of a point-to-point like most of the other lads. If it was first time out over fences over 3 mile in a novice chase and a nice big galloping track, I probably might have give him an each way shout if they crawled around, and it probably made it easier for him to get 3 mile. But I can't imagine they won't be hanging around in the King George now. So
no. Next in the event, we've got a Hoy Senior Royal Pagay. I'm not sure Hoy Senior is going to line up here because he's also engaged Weatherby in the Roland Merrick. Out of them two, Lorcan, about to line up, who would you rather be on if you had a choice? Hoy Senior Royal Pagay.
Probably a Hoy Senior, you know. Look, his last two runs, he's obviously underperformed, but the form at Aintree is quite hard to ignore, really, when you have Laurent Brescian behind him and Brave Man's Game. Look, he's by Dylan Thomas. I think with Dylan Thomas's, I've come across, they are a bit quirky and so forth, and obviously Derek's very good on him, and he's not an easy ride. Look, at 33 to 1, I think he's a massive price. Like I said, just that form there. I know it's the last 2 runs haven't. They've been in good races, you know, and I know it's an open company now, but like I said, his novice form is quite hard to ignore, really. I think at 33 to 1, he's a massive price.
Okay, what do you think about them pair, Kev?
Yeah, I'd agree with Lorcan there as well. My only worry with him would be that he does tend to race very keen and very free, and his jumping might just let him down a touch. But at the same time, he wasn't disgraced the last day in Aintree behind Noble the 8-sider, so you never know. He is a bit of a freak, and Derek does get along with him very well. So if he does get a freebie in front, which he probably won't, to throw down in the race, he could have every chance.
Matty, what do you think? Royal Pagay, does he need it? Does he need it a lot softer than what's going to be?
Yeah, he needs it a lot softer than what it's going to be. To be fair, if I had a choice, I wouldn't ride any of them. I think Hoy Senior had a hard season last year as a novice chaser, and I think it's really taken its toll, and I think that's why he's underperformed this year. He'll do well to carry that weight in the Roland Merrick as well, in my opinion.
And Hoy Senior, Dawn, do you read much into his defeat when Brave Man's Game beat him last year? Is Kempton his track?
Kempton might be his track. I mean, I'm with Kev on that as well, and with Lorcan. 33 to 1. I know I stuck with him for the many clouds, and I probably shouldn't because I ignored Noble Yates. But then you go, oh well, it was the curse of the Grand National, and they say they don't they're not as good as they used to be, but Noble Yates has proved us wrong. He met Noble Yates at Wetherby as well, you know, and you've got the Lorcan press form there. So I think you'd be foolish at 33-1 to ignore him. He was flat behind Brave Man's Game. That race in October, I didn't like him one bit, but yeah, I stuck with him when he was third to Many Clouds. But he does in the Many Clouds race. Sorry, not to Many Clouds. But when he was third to Noble Yates the last day, I just think he was like that. He was quite free, and he made a couple of mishaps, whereas you were taking a big intake of breath looking at him the whole time. But look, he could surprise us all. As for Royal Picai, I've lost too much money on him at this stage. I had him for the Gold Cup last season, and you know, I believe in Venetia, but I think Venetia has a better horse in the race, and we know who that is. So, Ahoy Senor, perhaps. Royal Picai, no way.
Getting to the nitty gritty now, the top challengers, so to speak, and Eldorado Allen. From what I'm hearing, a lot of people say he could be willing to pick up the pieces, a bit like Tornado for Drivers last year, and maybe come into the race. Matty, how do you rate Eldorado Allen?
I think he's got a solid each-way chance. I mean, he's been very hardly tried this year. He performed to a high level. And as you said, he's going to be dropped in. They're going to go a crazy gallop with Frodon. And he could pick up the pieces. I think he's about 16-1. He's definitely worth a few quid each way, in my opinion, anyway.
He's rated 162, Lorcan. He's not totally out of it, is he, at the ratings?
No, definitely not. And I would have fancied him like in a good each way bet. By all means, I can't see him winning it, but I mean, I can see him running a big race. The only thing that I'd say is when Protectorat beat him at Haydock the last day, all the horses behind him there looked very tired, you know. I would have rather have just maybe have not seen that run from him really, and if he had gone straight to the King George after his run in the Charlie Hall, then maybe I would have fancied a bit more. But if they just look very tired, the horses in behind Protectorat at Haydock that day, it might just take his toll coming to the King George in a good race, you know.
He's 4-14 as a chaser, Kev. Is that slightly off-putting?
Yes and no. Like just kind of echoing what Lorcan is just out after saying, and Matty, he always seems to run very well in these good races. You know, he's probably at that. It's probably just one of them. He's probably not a graded horse, but he's at the other end of the handicap as well. Like, you know, he's probably just stuck in a bit of a rush, but he always seems to run a good race, and he's very good each-way bet as well. But he has had a very hard race behind Protectorat there the last day of Haydock. But he's run well around Kempton before in the past, so who's to say that he won't be there to run another good race again?
He's like the Tornado flyer with the race door, and Lightning couldn't strike twice, could it?
I don't know. I don't know, Joe. Well, if I'm going to go Lightning to strike twice, again, I'm going to go towards Miller's Bank. But he bet your Hitman, you know, last year in the Halden. So I'm kind of going, well, you've got that little bit of form there. You can't ignore the Allaho third, okay? But he wasn't close to him, but still he was second coming around the bend that day. That race with Protectorat, I don't know, it kind of fell apart anyway. But all I keep hearing is, when I mention Lorcan Press, a lot of people are saying to me, but what about Eldorado Allen? And for some reason, he keeps coming up in discussions. Could he be tired from that other race where I agree again with the guys, that was a tough enough race. We don't know what the hell with A Plutard. He didn't turn up that day either. But I know, like, sorry, the place is falling apart. I mean, he's worth a second look. I can see what they're looking at there. And I go with, because I know how much you think of Hitman, you know, that bit of Hitman form there too. So he wasn't disgraced in his last run. He's worth a look, you know.
Okay. As you noticed, Jamie's just dropped in just to quickly give us a few minutes of his time. Jamie, Merry Christmas. Good to see you.
Hi, Joe. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Yourself?
Good. Yeah, very well. Thank you very much.
Brilliant. We've just getting into the nitty gritty of the top challenges in the King George. What do you make of this year's race?
Well, I think it's a brilliant renewal, isn't it? It's some really, really great names lining up here. I think listen, I'm a big fan of Long Presse. I thought what he did the other day in a handicap was great. His only disappointment really was at Aintree last year, which was on the back of a long season. So I'm a big fan of him. But I think Hitman is a young improver. Obviously, I secretly quite want Hitman to go and do well on the back of the novice chase form he's got with Gar Law. So slight sort of rose tinted glasses coming in from my angle, but listen, Envoy LM was very good the last day, wasn't he? It's a fascinating race.
It's very good, and Frodon's obviously he's the oldest in the field. Lorcan, Corto Star was the last 10+ winner of the race. Is he key to the pace of the race?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you can't really write him off, to be honest. I think if Frodon sort of got his own way in front like he did the year he won it, I think when he's enjoying himself and he gets it, him and Bryony get into that rhythm out in front, they're fairly hard to pass. I mean, look, will he get his own way in front? I don't know, but like I said, if he did get into his rhythm and he was happy and everything was going forward, they are very hard to pass, you know.
Jamie, do I need to press you for a selection now, or have you got time to sit in for a bit?
Yeah, no, I've got a couple of minutes, before I you got me out of putting the kids to bed.
How do you rate Frodon's chances?
I think obviously his run in the Badger Ales was excellent. I think he was probably quite well handicapped in many ways going into that. The Betfair probably came a little bit too soon on the back of that. He's a wonderful horse, don't get me wrong, but he's probably not progressing, and at his age, he's very, very open to the younger up and coming sort of horses. So I think he's probably an each way shout at 16-1, but I think he's vulnerable to the young improvers.
Kev, you can never write Frodon off, but a step too far possibly at his age.
Yeah, look, just agreeing with Jamie there now. Like he's getting old now, but he won a handicap over in Canton. There in the Badger Beals there at his first run. He's won this race a few years ago, so he does have at least good course form. Last Grade 1 win was at Down Royal and the Champion Chase in 2020, so he probably is kind of getting on in his age. As I said, as Lorcan said, if he does get his own way in front, he does have an excellent chance, but I don't think a high senior will let him off that easy.
No. Dawn, you love a fairy tale.
Yeah, I'm an eternal romantic, Joe, and when I watch Bryony and Frodon together, the horse just wants to do it for her, that way. The two of them, it's a partnership we all love. And look, a couple of weeks ago when he won the Badger Bear, it was the same day that Envoy Allen won at Down Royal, and ironically it was the same race that Envoy Allen won at Down Royal that Frodon had won the year before. So you kind of go, everybody, there wasn't a dry eye in the house. There won't be a dry eye in the house if he does it again. I even, the way I like to scrape back in history, and I had a thing for Might Bite, and I went, Jesus, even 2017, there he was with Might Bite. He was second to him. Look, I like to think with my birthday coming up that age is only a number, and I don't want to dig him out on his age. I think the quality is still there. I think he wants to do it for Bryony, and I think if he does get his way, he could be each way. I think the younger boy, Lahan Press, again, like Jamie, I'm obsessed, and like you, Joe, we're still saying go Cup, but the romantic in me, would I love to see it? I'll be crying into my selection box come Boxing Day if it happens.
Matty Bryony's been past fit, so I understand, to ride Friday on Boxing Day. She's pretty key to his chances, isn't she?
Oh, absolutely. They're just a match made in heaven, the two of them. He jumps, he travels for her, but he is getting on. And as Kev said, he hasn't won a Grade 1 for a long time now. So don't get me wrong, what he did at Wincanton I was very impressed to carry that weight in a Badger Beers over that trip. But yeah, I just think he could be vulnerable to some younger legs.
Okay. Got one Irish runner, Jamie, Envoy Allen. Brilliant novice hurdler. Things haven't gone quite as everyone expected up until last time out. He'd have a great chance, wouldn't he?
Oh, listen, brilliant. Obviously, the stepping up in trip obviously worked at Down Royal a treat. Made a couple of small jumping errors later on in the race there as well. So he was the sort of he was the next coming, wasn't he, in his younger days? Obviously, things didn't quite go right from the Marsh onwards that year, but I suppose the stepping up in trip looks to have been the making of him, and if he can reproduce that Down Royal performance, then he's bang there. The one thing I would just say, Joe, about L'Empresse, which I'm not sure if anyone's mentioned before on the programme, but he certainly does go. He does have a slight tendency to jump out to his left. Certainly did round Ascot, and when he went round Sandown, we were behind him, Legends Ride round Ascot, and he did go out to his left there. And around Sandown, when he won the Scilliars, he did go out to his left there. So I would just worry on a tight right-handed track like Kempton, whether jumping out to the left might not necessarily, work to his advantage. So although I'm a huge fan of his and think he's got a great chance in the Gold Cup, I'm not quite sure this track might play to his strengths. So listen, I'd be up for the young improver, and I'll be going for Hitman myself.
So before you leave us, Jamie, are you nailing your colours to the mast and Hitman's the one for you?
Yeah, go for it.
Brilliant, Jamie. Thanks for your time. I much appreciate it. Merry Christmas, and see you soon, hopefully.
No worries. Cheers, Joe. Take care. Happy Christmas,
Cheers.
everyone.
Happy Christmas.
Happy Christmas, Jamie.
Take care, everyone. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Sticking with Envoy Allen, Kev, obviously won the Ladbrokes Champion Chase last time out. A repeat of that win, it's not good enough to win here, is it?
To be honest, I'd love to see him win, but he didn't jump well enough for me early doors. He was very cold on Rachel, and he did rub a couple on his way around. And have to bear in mind, I know a lot of people probably won't think this will make the difference, but it'll be his first time seeing white fences as well, unless he's schooled over them at Henry's. So if he does kind of go a bit cold I'm not sure if Rachel's going to ride him on the day, but if he does go a bit cold early doors and they do go a fierce scallop set by Frodon and Ahoy Senior, he could be hard to get into the race again,
Definitely. Lorcan, with Envoy Allen, I do worry about Kempton as well with him. He could get, I don't know, I just get the feeling he could be, like Kev said, taken off his feet, maybe.
Yeah, Kev's bang on, he didn't jump with enough fluency, like Kev said, and around Kempton, it's a fast enough track, you can't be in and out of rhythm, and I just think if he makes them mistakes around Kempton, he's just going to get found out fairly easy. But look, the form is fantastic, like obviously Ken Boy's getting on now. I know he's 10-year-old, but did he win 2 Irish Gold Cups, I think? And his form's still solid for an old horse, and with the jumping mistakes that he did make, it was a good performance to still win. Just like Kev said, he's gonna, well, if they hadn't schooled him over him, he's seeing white fences for the first time, and round Kempton it's a sharp enough track, and it just might find him out.
You're very patriotic, Don, but I even get the feeling that you don't think Envoy Allen can win.
What I'm hearing a lot, Joe, is, and it's like Lorcan's kind of backed it up there, everybody keeps saying sharp, and that would be the one worry with Allen, as we all so lovingly call him, and look, the Marsh is what could have been. I know a lot of people are haunted by that. We'll never know now, and we can't ignore what had been before of how good he was. And look, he's been third to a Nerjameen, who we've seen is an absolute weapon. And he was third to him twice last season, so you've got that there to make the argument. Down Royal, yeah, there was a few mistakes as well, I agree. But I think, and I want to be patriotic and I want to stick with him. And again, he's another one that'll have me crying into my selection box. And I know Shawneen will be the most happiest girl in the world to see it happen, you know, but I wonder, is it going to be too sharp? But the hopeful person in me, because he's the almost horse now, makes me want him to do it. But it's just that word that keeps, it's the little person in the back of my mind, sharp. And that might just find him out, unfortunately.
Matty, Dawn summed up that, the almost horse.
Yeah, well, he is nowadays, isn't he? In his novice hurdle campaign, he was the horse. Yeah, since the Marsh, it's all been a bit disappointing, really. But he's got to have a chance. I was quite impressed the way he won it down Royal. I know a few sticky mistakes here and there, but I mean, we say it's a short 3 miles. It is, but he's only ran over 3 miles once round down Royal. He was a 2.5 miler for all his career. So I wonder if, all right, his jumping might put him on the back foot, but if he does jump well, I can't see a 3 mile at Kempton being too sharp for him.
So moving to the front three.
It won't. What we're saying, it won't be too sharp for him because they'll go a good gallop, but it's just that the gallop they'll be going for 3 miles. He's got to just he's going to be jumping more fences at 2.4 speed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he can't be making. He's got more fences to jump, so he's got more chances of making those mistakes over that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I wasn't saying he wasn't not going to get the trip. He'll obviously get the trip.
No, I understand that.
Yeah, that's what we were saying.
Yeah, but I just think with him doing most of his run over 2.5, he has got that speed.
Definitely.
I know his jumping did let him down a little bit down Royal, but that's been brushed up a little bit, and I just think they are going to go a good gallop anyway. And if he does jump with fluency, I think he'll be bang there.
Yeah, I agree. If he jumps with fluency, yeah, he'd be thereabouts.
Is riding around Kempton Lord and the chase track, is it, remember, I think it was Barry who was saying one time, you constantly, sometimes feels like you're constantly on the turn.
I remember when I first rode there when I was young, and I think I rode Zubair in a good race there when I was like a 7 pound claimer or something. I actually got caught out because going down the back you quicken quite dramatically, and I actually got caught on the flat on the back foot a bit, and I ended up staying on, running on. But whereas now I'm always aware of it, but down the back at Kempton when they quicken, they can almost get away from you, and if you let them get away with it, you can't really get them back in, tow them back in. It's a good track, but it's not forgiving at the same time in a way.
Yeah, I see what you mean. We're into the front three in the betting now, and obviously 2 are trained by Paul Nicholls. Hitman, 3rd favourite. I've spoken so highly of this horse on the podcast every single week. He's only a 6-year-old, but he feels like he's been around for ages. I mean, last season, Lahon Press, Braveman's Game, running novice chases. Hitman's running in Tingle Creeks, Melling chases, and he's still a year younger than him. So he's got the experience, surely.
Exactly. As he said, he's only 6. He's gone into the race with a huge amount of experience and good form under his belt as well. He's nothing to lose and everything to gain in a way. The only worry for me would be the first time over the trip. But he's there. He deserves to take his chances. He probably has been unlucky to not win a Grade 1 up to now, but he won the last days, if you would appreciate going further. So yeah, he's an exciting one to watch now. Yeah.
And Lorcan, you obviously rode him at Aintree. You gave him an absolute peach of a ride. I think you gained the best possible position you could on that day. 6 years old. 6-year-olds have won this race, so he's not totally out of it at all, is he? He's got a favourite chance, in my opinion.
No, I think he wins, to be honest. I do. After I rode him at Aintree, I said the horse wants 3 miles. You know, he finished second to Fakir Duderie until the other day, was the second best 2 mile forward chaser in the country until Allaho turns up, you know. And if you watch the race back at Aintree, Fakir just does us for a bit of toe. And then when we jumped the last, I think it was So Royal behind us who came to us. Then we ran on and stayed on again. I think he's crying out for the trip. I think the race will suit him. He jumps fantastic, touch wood. I mean, the only reason he got beat in the Holden Gold Cup, I think, is because he's so big and immature. It took him time to grow up. Yeah, I think the race is tailor made for him. I think, look, if I had either ride on Brave Man's Game or Hitman, I wouldn't be getting off any of them. But I mean, I probably have a soft spot for the horse. Like I said, I rode him at Aintree, and he's probably the best horse I've ever sat on. And yeah, I mean, after I rode him that day, I said he wants 3 miles, and yeah, I'm a massive fan of him anyhow.
You come out and dawn on smiling inside after Lorcan's talking us about Hitman there, and you like Hitman as well, don't you?
I kind of like, didn't I text you straight away, Joe, when we seen that with Lorcan, and I just went, wow, now I get him. I didn't, and now I get him. And hearing Lorcan, the way he's speaking now about him, and I often say, you know, at the end of the day, the jockey knows the horse the best, and to hear that just instills you with confidence there completely, you know. And like, I went back through his form, and you've got the, you know, he was second to Fakir Duderies, and Fakir Duderies, I was there yesterday when he went up against Gallopin de Champ, and Gallopin de Champ just blew my socks off. But Fakir Duderies is good in his own right too. So you kind of go, well, Hitman, look at how good he has. You've got Protectorat in there. You've got, as Jamie has said, you've got Galore in there too. But with what Lorcan is saying there, I just kind of go, God, you've really instilled my confidence, and my Christmas money would nearly go that way, you know. Now after hearing that, I'm my cup again, fill it over, Joe, and I think the two of us will be texting non-stop just saying Hitman is the man. Possibly now, just after hearing that, I'm not moving away. I'm not being, you know, a traitor to La Home Press, but I always go with what the jockey says, and what Lorcan has said there has really, really instilled the confidence. So I can see why you have loved him for as long as you have.
Matty, 160, he's rated below the others, but he's unexposed over 3 miles, and who knows, that could bring out on ratings so much improvement.
He's my idea of the winner. As Lorcan said, I think he's tailor made for 3 miles. Obviously, a 6-year-old. You say he's got youth on him, but he's got so much experience compared to the others as well. I'm a big fan of the way he jumps. And I just think over three miles, it'll suit him a lot better than the 2.5. Because when he seems to get in a battle over 2.5, he just doesn't seem to have the speed to get past. What did he? He ran it. Did he run at Aintree this season?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
he did.
Yeah.
Rides on the Storm.
Was giving about 2 stone away, was he?
Giving about 2 stone. That was it. Yeah. And I think another furlong and a half, he would have went past. So yeah, step up and trip to 3 mile. He'll jump, he'll travel. I think he'll win.
The home press, I didn't actually believe that he was going to run in the King George. It was just a bit of an afterthought, in my opinion. Kev, I actually think the home press is going to win the Gold Cup. King George, I'm not so sure about. Is the track going to suit Le Home Press? I mean, Jamie touched on it earlier.
Yeah, that's exactly what Jamie said earlier. He might go a little bit left at times, but you know, he's won twice around Cheltenham now, and one being over 2.5, so he's not short of pace anyway. You know, the ground and everything seems to be good for him, like it work in his favour. So, you know, he's definitely one of the main protagonists anyway, you know. It's not too much else you can say about him.
No.
Or maybe going the wrong way. But,
Charlie Charlie seems brilliant on him as well, doesn't he? Just jumps fence to fence.
no, yeah, sure. Charlie's the man to get them jumping anyway, you know. He's never making ground at his obstacles, you know. He's always gaining ground and holding on to them and filling them up everywhere, which will do him in great stead there in the King George.
Is it possible, Lorcan, that the home press could get caught up in a bit of a burn-up on the front end?
Maybe, but look, he's got the best man on board, really. You know, Charlie Deutsch. He rides off so much instinct.
Sorry, Lorcan, is he a bit underrated? Because he is, in my opinion, Charlie. He doesn't get the plaudits that everyone else.
Yeah, he's an unbelievable rider. You know, he rides so much off instinct and has trust in himself and trust the horse. You know, he's a fantastic rider, and I mean, yeah, that Charlie will know what to do. Deutsch will know what to do if he is getting caught up in it. He'll know what to do. So I mean, I wouldn't be worried about that at all. I think like we've always, well, like Kevin, like Jamie said, I think the only worry is obviously his tendency to go left. But look, he's still a fantastic horse, and he's got youth on his side, and he's got Deutsch on board as well. So yeah. He's going to be hard to beat, but we'll see what happens.
He's my worry as a Hitman fan, Matty, the home press. He's your main worry?
Yeah, I'd say, well, he's entitled to be favourite, isn't he, of what he's done. I was very impressed with his run at Newcastle, lugging that weight round there. But even still, he jumped left, even at Newcastle, going left-handed. And he probably his win at Newcastle was probably more impressive than the Bear result, because he jumped left quite a lot and probably give away a length or so at every fence. But as the lad said, Deutsch's one of the most underrated jockeys in the weighing room, and he'll know what to do. Yeah, he's a massive danger to Hitman, but I think tendency to jump out left, going that gallop over at Kempton and King George, he might just forfeit a couple of lengths, maybe a few too many.
Go on, the home press. You're a fan, massive fan. King George, it's going to be his toughest assignment to date? What you think?
Yeah, I do think it's going to be his toughest, but I think it's going to sort him out. You know, that way you're going to then have people maybe acknowledging him, acknowledging, as the lads call him, Deutschy as well, because I've watched Charlie now and I've seen the way, even like, you know, the way I said to you, I don't know English handicaps that well, and the way he gets horses up, and he just seems to be able to get them up, and he does need all the credit. And I think this horse might actually get him the credit that he deserves and might actually get people talking. I remember a few weeks ago we said, like, Matty again is backing up what he's saying about him jumping left, because you had a couple of the experts, I'll say, saying, oh, well, the jumping is going to be the problem. It's going to be the problem. Fair enough. And again, I'll bring up the word sharp. I know Venetia herself, because I take Nick Luck on my walks with me. He had Venetia on a couple of days ago, and she said as well, the worry was that it may be a bit sharp at Kempton, but he had to run. And you're getting to see him now. He's turning out. And I think if he does win, he will not only get the respect he deserves, but Charlie Deutsch will get the respect he deserves. And yeah, okay, I've just said, and I'm probably going back on what I said again, what Lorcan has said about Hitman, and it instills confidence, but my heart still lies with La Homme Press. You know, even yesterday after seeing Galopin de Champ and how good he was, the two of them come Cheltenham Gold Cup is going to be incredible. But yeah, it's going to be his biggest test to date. And if he does do it, then let's all applaud him, and let's all applaud Charlie as well for two superstars, and superstars in the making as well.
Yeah. So move on to the favourite now, and he's been favourite a long time, even since he won his Quarto Star Novice Chase last season. I was there that day. In Braidman's game, he did blow me away. He's jumping around Kempton. Lorcan, he's probably worthy favourite with the home press. What people are saying, he doesn't fire much off the bridle, but he hasn't actually really, has he?
No, exactly. I mean, in my opinion, he's Hitman's biggest danger, really. I mean, the run in the Charlie Hall was just so impressive, and the time was I think it was fast. I mean, yeah, look, he's got a course form. He's got a course form around there, beating a high senior. Look, he's a fantastic horse. His jumping is unbelievable. Yeah, he doesn't find much off the bridle, so they say. But like you said, he hasn't really had to, and you know, Paul's had this in his sights for a very, very long time, and you know, when he has something like this in his sights, I mean, he never normally misses. So yeah, I mean, Brave Man's Game is Hitman's biggest threat, in my opinion, and like I said, the boss has had this in his sights for a long time. So yeah, I mean, it's going to be a hell of a race to watch anyhow.
Brave Man's Game, Kev, worthy favourite?
Yeah, look, he deserves to be, doesn't he? He's been faultless up to now, apart from when he's probably gone to Cheltenham. But look, he's of course in distance winner. The ground is big key, you know, everything's in his favour. It's his race to lose.
Okay. And from an outsider looking in, Paul Nicholls, he probably had this race imported for Brave Man's Game as a novice hurdler. I think he actually did live on telly. He said one day he'll be a King George horse, and there's no one better at picking targets, is there?
No.
He just picks them up. There's no one else like him, is it, Lorcan, picking targets long range?
No, he's the best out there. But like, I think it's silly saying that I don't know who would say he isn't. You know, he's in the office every morning, every evening, thinking of races, and from when the horses first come in and we're getting on them, you know, and he'll say to you, this will win that race, that'll win this race, and it doesn't matter whether they're the horses at the top of the food chain or the bottom. You know, he's got a plan with every single one, and that's what he's the best at. He'll find races that other people can't. You know, he's this mad in a way.
Brave Man's Game, Matty, I know you're not his biggest fan, but he goes there with a huge chance either way, doesn't he?
Well, yeah, got a massive chance, of course. I just think his jumping is exceptional. He is probably the best chaser jumping wise that we've seen for a long time. I've yet to see him make a mistake, which obviously is going to stand him in such good stead, running around 3 miles around Kempton and King George, going that quick. Yeah, as you said, we don't know if he finds much off the bridle, but yeah, he hasn't had to come off the bridle as such. I was very, very impressed in the Charlie Hall, but I don't know what it is. I can't take to him. I don't know why. Just one of these
Lost
things.
you too much money, I'd say, that's why.
I don't know. I've never taken to him, and I don't know why. But I never forget his novice chase around Newton Abbott. And Newton Abbott's not the easiest jumping track, and to go there first time out as a novice chaser and jump the way he did was exceptional.
That when he beat Fuso Raffles. Fuso Raffles? Seems Simon Hills, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was something like that anyway. But yeah, he's obviously the main danger to Hitman in my opinion, but I just think Hitman's improving with every run, and I think he'll struggle to get past Hitman.
Not convinced, Dawn, are you? Brave Man's Game?
I'm like Matty, there's something I just can't warm to him now. In all fairness to him, I was up in the sky, and then when I landed, I seen his win, and I thought, you know, his last win, and I thought, Jesus, he's damn impressive, you know, and I got text through about, oh yeah, Jesus, you should have seen the way he jumped. So I went back and I watched it, and Look, shall we say it? Paul Nicholls about his ducking and diving a little bit, and he ducked and dived in the Browns, and we never seen him go against Lorcan Press. That was ground, wasn't it, that day? So we don't know what would have happened there. He won the Cato Star Novices last year, so huge respect there. And just, I'm going to shove that in. McFabulous wins that. That's what I think anyway. But yeah, when he was fourth to a high senior, I didn't like him that day either. He was favourite. Do I like him for the King George? And again, I have the utmost respect to our guests on here and what they think of him, but I just don't get him. And I don't particularly like him. So, and that's not fair on the horse. I like him as a horse, but I can't, I don't see, I understand why he's favourite, but he's not for me. For some reason, I just have this block, and that's it, So, no, I'll be swerving him. I'll be more than happy to see him win, fair play to him if he does, but, and I understand, but no, I just can't warm to the horse at all.
Before we ask it for a conclusion, recently Tornado Flyer, Clandersbow, Silviano Conti, Frodon, they've won the King George and they haven't been able to go on and produce in a Gold Cup. There seems to be a massive gap these days between a King George horse and a Gold Cup horse, Lorcan. Why is that?
I'm too sure, really.
I mean, can you see anyone?
The two tracks are very different in my opinion.
Track or trip, would you say, or just combination of everything?
Combination of the both, really. The finish at Cheltenham is so grueling. It's and round Kempton it's very flat, and I know I said it's not forgiving, but I mean that more in the rider's sense, not so more in the horses.
It's an easier 3 miles than Cheltenham would be.
Yeah, exactly. And Cheltenham 3-2 is, I think it's just completely different. It's on two different tracks over different trips. I know it's only small margins, you say, in 2 furlongs, but it makes all the difference in a way.
Kev, if there was one horse in this year's King George who has a chance of repeating Gold Cup glory, who would it be, in your opinion?
There's a chance of repeating Gold Cup glory.
Following up from King George, if you know what I mean.
I'd love to see Envoy Allen win it.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest, I know we've been doing is just slating him since when we were talking about him. But if he won, it'd be great. It'd be great for racing.
Okay, so you're now your colours to the mast. Envoy Allen for the King George.
Yeah. I'm not saying if he's good enough to win it now, that's a different story. But I'd love to see him win it. But I'd say Hitman has all the hit markers on him, as to say.
Okay, Matty.
To choose one to follow up, see, I'm not a fan of Brave Man's Game, especially round 3-2 round Cheltenham. Lorcan Press, he's got the credentials to win a Gold Cup. Has he got the credentials to win a King George? I'm not so sure. And then Hitman, I don't know. Hitman to win the King George with Brave Man's Game second and Eldorado Allen third. There's your tricast.
Okay. Dawn, who wins King George?
God, do I go head or heart? Do I I don't know. Lorcan has confused me terribly. I'm my head's in a spin now. You want something and then you hear something else and you decide you want something else. But do I stick? Do I be faithful and say, look, to go back to your question about Gold Cup and King George, could he do it back to front? Like I just said, my favorite, previous King George winner, Long Run, possibly. But I'm going to stick with Lorcan Press. But I think Hitman, by God, if he's there, I'd be very happy for him. And to go with Kev, because I've had, 4 racing Envoy Allen, it would be fantastic for everybody you know, from boat yards that Envoy Allen was in. There'd be celebrations in boat yards, and it's kind of what racing needs. But you know, if I want to think racing wise, I'm going La Home Press or Hitman. And Miller's Bank, I'm going to just throw it in there for the bonkers bet. If everything else falls apart, my bonkers bet is Miller's Bank. But La Home Press to do the 2, Joe, I think. I know he's going to be tested, and please God, if he does do it, let's give the jockey and give the horse the respect they deserve.
I'm lucky enough to be going Boxing Day again with the family, and I can't wait for the King George. And I would love, everyone knows me, I've been talking about Hitman for months. I love the horse, and I'd love to see him win. Lorcan, I appreciate you don't have to give a selection. You're involved in the yards, but who do you think?
I think I've said it already, but yeah, no. I just got a massive soft spot for the horse, and it's not just that. I just think, from what I felt on him at Aintree, I think the track will suit. I think 3 miles will suit, and I think after his, what I loved about his last run, the last day, was he had to go out in front, and he had to do everything in front, and he would have come on mentally so much from that. Like I said, the Holden Gold Cup, he almost threw that away, not through being ungenuine, just so big and immature. He was looking at the paddock, and he's got caught flat-footed. And you know, like you say, when he ran at Aintree, the time before, when Riders on the Storm beat him, I mean, he was always staying on towards the line. I think he's crying out for 3 miles, and yeah, I think Hitman's the one for me anyhow.
Okay, brilliant. Right, Lorcan, Kev, as always, appreciate your time. Thank you very much, and Merry Christmas from everyone at Racing Social. Dawn, Matty, I'll probably speak to you at some point in the future. Viewers, thanks for watching. I hope you found it informative, and hope you have a great Christmas and Boxing Day racing. And thanks for watching. Keep an eye on everything, and we'll have some more selections, videos coming up over the next few weeks. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks very much, Joe. Merry Christmas.